Hello, thank you so much for joining me. Welcome to the show. Here for the very first time today is Big Brother winner Nadia Almda. Did you remember that glorious moment? I remember being there for the final, wearing a T-shirt with your name on it, both my girls with me, all in matching T-shirts, screaming, cheering. It was a really, really big deal. I mean, obviously for you, even huger.
It was a momentous moment for me, and actually for society in general. It was a really, really important time in our lives. And I think, like you and like the Adele's, there's a lot of people that remember that day specifically.
Yeah, and lots of people looking at you now will be thinking, oh my gosh, that's Nadia. Wow, Lord.
What is that good? Is that good or bad?
I think it's good. I think you look just the same, although even chicer and more beautiful now than you were then, I would say.
Yeah.
But people will be thinking now, what year was that? How long ago was it? I'm not going to tell you yet. Returning to my sofa, though, is the lovely broadcaster Afua Hagen. So great to see you. And Nick Freeman is here. Just because he wants to be, keeps badgering us. Let me come on, please. We say, okay, occasionally we'll say it. No, lovely to see you, Nick. Thank you so much for coming back. This is what we're going to be talking about today. First of all, do you think there should be mandatory eye tests for all drivers, not just the over 70s? The government's reportedly planning to make those over 70 take an eye test every 3 years. But at the moment, the DVLA relies on motorists of all ages to follow a code of honesty about their eyesight. Why should they only be targeting elderly drivers when everyone ought to be tested, you might think? And then, are too many women getting cosmetic treatments? A top doctor's vowed not to give Botox and fillers to young women in particular, saying it's unethical. He's horrified, he says, by how many young women are determined to look like age-defying celebrities. I wonder if you're worried that young women are in too much of a rush to change their appearances. Could they be discouraged if more people just embraced aging and a more natural look? And after that, would you confront somebody who put their feet up on the seat on your local train or bus service? Former Sun editor Kelvin McKenzie recently exposed a fellow passenger, look at that picture that he took, who had their feet up on the seat but didn't intervene, saying it shouldn't fall to him. There ought to be somebody whose job that is. Have you taken travellers to task for putting their trotters up on the seat? And if so, what happened? And with parts of the UK expecting their fourth heatwave of the summer this week, are you happy that it's hot again? Temperatures could pass 30 degrees in some areas today, with highs of 34 degrees predicted tomorrow. I say you should stay and watch TV and watch Vanessa on Channel 5. That's the right thing to do to shelter from the hottest rays of the sun. But what do you think of all these heat waves? You can give us a call on 0207 862 2222. And if you just want to reminisce with me about the long, hot summer of 1976, you know that's one of my favourite topics of all time. So please feel free. Calls from landlines may cost up to 16p a minute, plus any call set-up fees, and calls from mobiles considerably more. To send us a message, head to Facebook, X or Instagram, search for Vanessa Feltz, email me on vanessa@channel5.com, and you can WhatsApp us on 07706 152 454. Nadia, a very special welcome to you. Shall we tell people how long ago it was?
Yes, we can.
Go on.
I'm confident enough to say it was 21 years ago.
So 2004 was the big year. We
Yes,
can
ma'am.
see some of this footage now. This is that moment. Describe how you felt at that moment.
I don't, there's no words to describe it in one word. I think it was just elation.
I mean, the big deal, as I'm sure people will remember at the time, was that you were the first, and indeed so far the only transgender woman to win the UK series of Big Brother. Let's just have, before we discuss, a little look at one of your more iconic moments in the house, just to recapture the flavour. Oh, this is you coming. Oh, look at this. Wow. I mean, you looked amazing, and you looked sort of beyond ecstatic. Yeah, let's have a look at a little bit of what you did on the show.
Oh, my God. That's insane.
Yes,
I can't wait any longer. Or either give me cigarettes or get me out of here. Honestly, I want out. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. I don't want to be here anymore.
Is it just the lack of cigarettes?
Yes, it is just the lack of cigarettes. I don't ask me any more questions. Just get me out of here, please. I'm gonna go insane. Look at me. Look at me. You think this is funny? This is not funny.
I mean, we're going to make it clear that was an army task. That's why you were dressed like that.
Yes, it was.
But I mean, when you look back 21 years ago, still a revolutionary moment in British broadcasting. What do you think about the impact that it had and that you had?
I think first and foremost, when I actually see some of those sort of, snippets of my time in the show, I actually look into that person. I think she's extremely hilarious.
Yeah, you were absolutely hilarious.
Yeah, it was. To me, she makes me laugh, and I think that is something to to say about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a time where a discussion had to be had, and it just happened to be me. It wasn't my intent. It wasn't I never thought that would be such a momentous topic of conversation.
Yeah.
But it happened, and I'm glad it did.
The way it was kind of dealt with, if such a thing is the right way of describing it on the programme,
Yeah.
was that obviously you knew who you were in your own life story.
Yeah.
The viewers at home knew because
Yeah.
we had been told
Yeah.
this is a transgender woman,
Yeah.
and here she is.
Yeah.
But your fellow housemates were not told and didn't know, and that was really by your request. You just wanted for the first time to be yourself and live your life and not have any
Indeed.
label put on you.
Indeed.
And you feel that worked pretty damn well, didn't it?
It worked brilliantly for the first time in my whole entire. I mean, I was still quite a young lady, and for the first time in my life was that experience was the most freest experience for me.
Yeah.
It was so. I was truly my authentic self. I radiated everything. There was everything. That's how I carried my life anyway. Everything else besides what I was in the show.
Yeah.
This is how I live my life anyway, regardless.
And tell us about, in a couple of sentences, that's all I can afford to give you in terms of time, which is such a shame. But the years since, the 21 years since, I mean, I know that you are a very successful hairdresser. That's your profession. And people are very lucky to have you because you're incredibly talented.
Thank
what else do
you.
we need to know? You live in the United Kingdom.
I do.
You always have.
I do. Yeah. I'm coming up to my 30th anniversary living in the UK,
Yeah.
so I'm very happy about that. But yeah, just living life is one of those things. Really.
And have you found happiness in yourself? Have you found fulfillment? Have you found love? What's been going on?
I think all those emotions are very fleeting, regardless. Anyway,
Point. She's very wise. That's why she won. She won because she's not silly. She's got a hell of a lot to say, and that is a damn good point.
No. But I do find a common ground where I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah.
I have this sort of quasi, semi, sort of in and out, sort of public profile when I need to, and then I do have my private life, which is extremely important to me, especially now in this time.
And if I were to ask you about fame, for one moment you were on the front page of every paper, everyone knew your name, only by one name, and they needed to know Nadia, and they knew it was you.
Yeah.
And you couldn't have been more famous. I mean, God, everyone was talking about you, thinking about you, voting for you. It was a big old deal. And then, as you say, now you're able to pursue a private life. If you fancy coming out and being on a show like this, you can. But you certainly don't have to. You're not being followed down to the shops and all of that.
No.
So now you know what it's like to be incredibly famous, be less famous. What do you feel about fame? Because lots of people think it's so desirable to be famous, don't they?
Be careful what you wish for. That's what I say about fame. I think fame does not equate necessarily to monetary value. That's an important one.
Yeah.
Fame doesn't not necessarily, having a public profile doesn't mean you can have the most lavish lifestyle. That's not the case. And secondly, once you were in there, fame is actually quite easy to achieve these days, especially with social media platforms and all that.
Yes.
But to retain it, to keep it, is the most hard-working.
Have you been happy, though, to relinquish it, or have you wished to keep it?
1,000,000%. Now I value. Now I understand what privacy truly means.
Right.
Once you've experienced that extremities.
It looks like you've done more than survive, though. It looks like you've thrived with an absolute vengeance. Let me get to the kind of semi-serious part of all this, which is that it was reported last week that schools, hospitals, leisure centres and cinemas could be told to ban transgender women from single-sex spaces, including lavatories and changing rooms. That's all under guidance set to be signed off by ministers, and it follows the Supreme Court ruling in April that a woman is defined by biological sex. Obviously, this has been highly controversial, polarising, lots of people very divided on it. Now, Jen, I just wanted your take on it as you're here.
It has been a very polarizing, contentious subject for a very small minority of our society. There is need for a nuanced conversations about it, but I think this is so most importantly is to understand that transgender women and men, non-binary, intersex exist. And I think we need to kind of come to an understanding that those two things are important.
I mean, I see Afua nodding enthusiastically beside you. What are you thinking, Afua?
You're absolutely right, Nadia, in saying that there needs to be a nuanced conversation about this, and having like a rule that, you know, you must ban transgender women from these spaces or ban transgender men from these spaces, whichever it is, doesn't work because you have to have room for nuance. And I think actually the rules like this, judgments like this, are taking transgender rights back 20, 25, 50 years, which I think is a real, real shame.
Nick, I wonder what you think.
Well, I think actually it's progress because I think what will happen is we'll move forward and we'll actually have, if you like, unisex changing rooms, unisex toilets, which has already started happening at swimming baths in Deptford.
Shall I tell you where I last went to a unisex loo? I was quite amazed.
Yeah, but it's happening.
Let me tell you. Buckingham Palace.
Here we go.
I was invited to the Royal Garden Party. I was honoured and thrilled to go. Had to, you know, do what comes naturally, pay a penny. And there were all these chaps in the loo, and it was a unisex loo at Buckingham Palace. So I thought, well, if they can do it, everyone can do it.
They're doing it
really.
in swimming baths in Deptford. That's already unisex changing rooms. You have your cubicle, and I think that deals with everyone's situation, doesn't it?
Yeah,
and that's why I say it's progress.
Just checking that you feel that there is progress.
I appreciate. I think that's quite true. There is those sort of, I guess the unisex is probably a little bit dated with that now. I think it's more gender gender neutral.
Whatever word you want to use to describe
hold on a second. There's an evolution in our English language.
Sure.
And the English language is not linear.
Yeah.
It's forever evolved.
Yeah, sure.
So even the unisex term is actually quite dated. It's gender neutral.
It is. Yeah.
It's quite important.
I think, you know, of a certain generation, you just think it means for everyone.
Yeah,
True,
exactly.
absolutely.
It's inclusive.
And in a way,
Absolutely.
wouldn't for everyone be the better term? Better than gender neutral and better than unisex? Just for anyone who needs to go to the loo, go here.
But the psychology of
That's
language
it.
is super important. And I think when you start segregating a type of woman from specific spaces, it does not just affect the trans woman, it also affects all women. Because what are the metrics that you're going to go about living your day-to-day life and call me or call any person, for that matter, of sex, and say, you're not welcome in this space? What are the metrics? What are the requirements? How are you going to go navigate those things?
Do you feel as if that enormous moment of progress where Davina McCall said Britain opened its eyes, that you brought that about, Britain opened its eyes. So you feel it was simpler then, but do you feel that we've very lately gone backwards, or do you feel
Entirely.
You do?
Entirely. But I do have to say, in defense of this beautiful country, in defense of this nation, it's a very small minority that are very expressive on this kind of sort of topic and gender critical. It's a very small minority. It's not a reflection of this country by all means.
I don't know.
And that's the beauty of it all. But
I can't speak for the whole country, but I've
Sure.
done, you know, phone-ins for so many years.
Speaking with the community, and the community has been affected on this matter.
I feel that most people
Just want to get on.
just wish people well and just hope
They're very
everyone's
tolerant.
okay
They're
and
very
don't want to hurt
tolerant.
anyone's feelings. They're not trying to set out to judge.
Yes.
Most that's what I think. Anyway.
I agree with
I
you,
hope it's
Vanessa.
true. That's what
No,
I
it
think
is
is true.
true.
Right, let's plunge into our first topic now, and this is it. Should we, do you think, have mandatory eye tests for all drivers? Do get your calls in now. The number's 0207 862 2222. We're asking, of course, because the government is reportedly planning to test the eyesight of over 70s every 3 years when they renew their driving licences. Unlike most of Europe, the UK relies on drivers of all ages to self-report medical conditions that might affect their driving ability. There's a £1,000 fine for those who don't inform the DVLA. But do you think we ought to toughen things up? Why should we only be targeting elderly drivers when we could introduce eye tests for absolutely everyone? Obviously, I'm going to talk to Mr. Loophole, Nick Freeman, about this one, because driving is your bread, your butter, your jam, and all of that. You're forever in court defending or something.
My Marmite.
It's your Marmite. Delicious, delicious.
I think the over 70s is a great idea. I don't actually believe that we have a problem with drivers under 70 generally. And obviously there's the costs involved. So I don't agree with the self-certification. I would say mandatory eye tests for everyone over 70 every 2 years, not every 3 years, and also a mandatory medical. But to bring that forward under 70, I would leave it on the basis that if you've got a problem, you self-certify. But I would also place a duty on family members. So if immediate next of kin know that mummy or daddy is driving and shouldn't be because of a certain problem, you place a legal obligation on them.
But I can hear you in court saying that doesn't work, that doesn't
no,
stand
yeah.
up. This is my nephew. I never told him I couldn't see.
Immediate.
You know, when he asked for a sausage, I handed him a banana, but he wasn't to know that it wasn't a practical. I can imagine you doing this in court and defending the person with every fibre of your being.
Well, everyone's entitled to a defence.
Yeah. You're setting up.
No, I'm setting up more rules to try and cater for the situation.
You're setting up rules so there are more court cases and you can make even more money out of them. Aren't you?
But what I would do is have mandatory tests on the highway code every 10 years for everybody.
Wouldn't. That's just torturing the entire nation. Don't do that.
Because the majority of drivers, and it's a huge problem, particularly for road safety, have not got a clue about what road signage is, speed limits. They haven't got a clue.
Is that our fault? They're absolutely mind-boggling.
And they change them all
God,
the time.
imagine having to mug up for a test after all these years.
No, not a driving test. Not a driving test.
No, a test on...
I agree with the refresher type course. I think that's the difference.
Well, I would suspend licences. If you don't pass the test, your licence is suspended until you acquaint yourself with the knowledge.
Oh, absolutely. But I think you should have eye tests for drivers every 2 to 3 years, not just for the over 70s, and medical tests perhaps as you get a bit older as well, because there can be conditions that you may have that affect your driving, and you might be under 70. And I don't think we can rely on people to self-report. I'm sure some people don't do that because they want to keep their independence, they want to keep their licence, and perhaps, unfortunately, they shouldn't be on the road.
It's just a licence to print money. You're just paying for this test and that test and this
But think how much it costs the economy.
This thing. And we're already running, aren't we, months and months and months behind with driving tests. They can't keep up with the demand. People are being kept waiting. Imagine if there had to be some government body checking the eye test, checking the medical test, checking that your weight was correct. For God's sake.
But it's all about road safety as well, preventing accidents and also preventing trauma for the person that may inadvertently cause an accident because, you know, they can't see the car that's coming or can't see the pedestrian.
Don't you think, Nadia, most people are responsible drivers and they know if they can see or they can't see and they don't want to be dangerous?
I kind of agree with Nick in this sort of self-diagnose in the sense where if I have suddenly I develop a sort of a medical condition, underlying condition that really would prevent my eyesight from driving, that definitely need to be disclosed. But there's also an important factor in here. We can easily get an eye test in the high street opticians, and I get those. But if there are more substantial medical conditions, just waiting for an appointment these days, you could spend years waiting for it. So that autonomy, that independence of being a driver, which again, road safety is super important. I don't know, are we logistically prepared for it all? I'm not sure. But I think we are in part with our European counterparts as well. I think this is very much getting within that sort of
all right, we'll go straight to the phones because David's on the line in Cheshire. And David, you've just given up driving. Do you mind explaining what happened?
Yes. I'd had several incidents, not what I caused, but of other people, even the younger generation. Yeah. And I thought, I don't understand this. So I've given up driving. I've still got my licence for identification, but I have got tinnitus, amongst other things, and that upsets your balance and makes you giddy. The other week, here's a laugh. I went across for an eye test, and I passed exemplary. Walking back across the car park with a police constable, and I said, "Oh, Luke, there's a 1p coin on the floor." And he said, "Where?" You know what I said?
You have given us a good laugh. You really have. How old are you, if you don't mind my asking, David?
Oh, that's 77 at the end of October.
Okay.
And tell me about how difficult life will be now you're not driving, or how you're going to cope without driving now.
Yeah. I get round the problem. I'm very parochial in my shopping needs anyway.
I mean, my producer's saying in my ear, how old is he really?
How rude.
Well, my birthday's end of October.
How old are you? We can't even see you. We don't know. We just don't know how many years you've been driving. We'd love to know. How old are you now?
I passed my driving test about 20. right?
So 57.
I've had a maximum of 3 points on my licence.
Yeah.
And I have a chauffeur's certification.
Oh, right. So you're a professional driver and a really, really good driver. All right. Do you feel that you're going to miss it very badly not driving?
No, I get around. I can get on the bus to Sandbach, Crewe, or on the train to Crewe, and it's no problem because the buses, the government pays.
All right. Well, you're a very jolly gentleman, and it's been a real pleasure talking to you and a good laugh. We've enjoyed it. Thank you. Let's go to Derek in Northamptonshire. Derek, what about these, tests for 70-year-olds plus, but do you think everybody should have an eye test every few years?
Oh, hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm not convinced that everyone needs a driving test. I don't think 70 is that old anymore. It's sometimes referred to as the new 50. But I must admit, I don't drive as much as I used to because there's so many members of the family have got cars and they can take me wherever I want to go. Yeah. And there's buses that I get a bus pass for and go to most other places as well. But when I first heard about this, the first thought that went through my mind, because I'm rather aged and I've become rather cynical, and think to myself, is this got something about selling spectacles? Because if you've got a compulsory eye test, an optician might be incentivised to sell you some glasses, which might be quite expensive, which perhaps you wouldn't necessarily need. That's my thought.
Well, you're joining me on the cynics bench on this one, because I said just the similar thing, which I said, how much money is everyone going to make out of this if we all have to have tests and glasses and, extra certificates proving that we're in a fit state to drive? Someone somewhere, and probably the government, going to make a lot of money out of us. So I feel very similar, and I don't like to think that I'm a cynic or a sceptic or anything. I always think I'm a romantic, and maybe we both are. Derek, thank you so much. Thanks for your calls on this one. We're going to pause for a break, but when we return, more of your calls on whether you feel we should have mandatory eye tests for all drivers, regardless of age. Do get your calls coming in. The number's 0207 862 2222. And after that, do you think too many women are getting cosmetic treatments? We have some strong views on that one on the sofa. We'd love to hear from you, though. All of that coming up in just a moment. Join. Welcome back. We're live on 5 with Nadia Afua and Nick. And yes, it is Nadia from Big Brother. And yes, it was 21 years ago. We were children, Nadia, then, weren't we?
Infants, actually,
and haven't we aged beautifully since? I mean, really,
so
you can barely see the passage of time. It's a miracle, isn't it? Don't forget, later on, we're going to be asking, would you confront somebody who put their feet up on a train or bus seat? Would you be brave enough, or do you think it would just be foolhardy? But now more of your calls on whether we should have mandatory eye tests for all drivers, regardless of age. Do get your calls in now. The number's 0207 862 2222. Let's go to Robin in Gloucestershire. Hi, Robin. What do you think?
Oh, hi, Vanessa.
Hello.
I think certainly after sort of 50, there should be tests. But I mean, I have tests every 2 years. And my last test in June showed that I needed weaker glasses. So my eyes have incredibly improved. But I'm also thinking of giving up driving, though I'm fairly competent. I don't feel comfortable anymore.
Why? Why not?
Quite nervous. I think it's just an age thing. I think the aggression on the road, and I never used to get anxiety, but it's grown since I reached the lovely age of 81. And I think it's time for me to just probably rely on family and buses. But I think, there should be sort of mandatory tests, I think, after a certain age.
See, I'm absolutely fascinated by this. I'd love to do this subject tomorrow on the show, that you say that the thing that really is putting you off is not your age, certainly not your eyesight, but the fact that people are so aggressive. Other drivers' aggression is kind of, you're finding it threatening. It's giving you anxiety. So you've been obviously a barometer of this throughout your whole driving life, Robin, and you really do notice it getting so unpleasant. You'd rather not drive at all. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I want to bring Nick in on this.
There's a lot of frustration on the road. I mean, look, I do 50,000 miles a year. I drove on Wednesday 900 miles in a day.
Yeah, gosh.
So I'm driving massively, and I'm 70 next year, by the way.
And you look great, Nick. You look great. That's what he wants us to say, and I'm going to say it.
What I'm saying is about mandatory eye tests.
Yeah.
If you keep yourself fit, then you can go on for hopefully for a long time.
But are you finding other drivers much more aggressive?
I'm finding a lot of drivers. No, I'm not, because I try and be a really courteous driver. But what I do find is many drivers, there's probably, 1.5 million drivers on our roads who have not taken the UK driving test. And what that means is they're unfamiliar with the requirements to drive on our roads. So you drive down from Manchester to here, like yesterday, the third lane is full of people who won't move out the way, causing congestion. And people who know about driving get very frustrated and they get angry. And then if you be patient, you wait behind them, you don't want to undertake, you indicate, they won't move, you might flash them, you then go past them, and there's an aggressive reaction. Okay.
Yeah. And that's just on the motorway. But you try doing it in a city driving, boy, you want some aggression. You really get that.
On the roads, are there? No
I think we do live in a very fast-paced society, and sometimes aggression does come across, and I see it even in my suburbs, of small towns. I see that a lot. I think I'm quite actually. Most of the time, I'm actually the main concern for me is cyclists and van drivers.
You can do cyclists and van drivers on the show every day of the week, and the calls will come in. Let me tell you. But note to producers, I would like, inspired by Robin, to do something about aggression on the roads tomorrow if we can. Let's bring in John in Cumbria. John, you're seeing better now than you were when you were 50. That's a miracle, isn't it?
Oh, hello, Vanessa.
Hi.
Yeah, John here from Cumbria.
Hi, John.
Basically, I had a cataract operation about 10 years ago, and most of my friends have had cataract operations, and I can see better now than I could when I was 50, never mind 60. I've just had an eye test, and my eyes are exactly the same as they were 10 years ago. Perfect vision. I do wear spectacles, but that gives me the difference between HD and normal television, basically.
John, tell me something, though. If they said to you, and it looks as if they're going to, you're going to have your eyes tested to drive every 3 years after the age of 70, would you feel like you should have some exemption which says, but I've had the miraculous cataract operation, I don't have to have it, give over, and I'm not paying for it? Or would you just trot along and have it?
Exactly, but I'd go along and have it. It's not a problem.
Yeah.
Provided you're not sitting around all day waiting for the eye test, because eye tests can take quite a while. I mean, we had a chap, my wife's got dementia, and we had to have a home visit. And that took, I don't know, best part of an hour. Test an hour?
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a long time.
John, nice to talk to you. I wish I could see. Then I could see if you were in HD or if you were out of focus or what was going on. Unfortunately, I can't, but I wish I could. Thank you so much. Let's go to Jean in London. Jean, tell me about what you would do to make driving safer in terms of vision.
I'd stop not just drinking in cars or drugs in cars, but all distractions. You have to be, if you're a driver, you have to have your hands on the wheel. There used to be an old song called with kissing and hugging with Fred.
That's right.
Keep your mind on your
eyes
driving.
on the driving. Keep your hands on
the wheel.
Keep your pesky eyes on the road ahead.
On the road ahead.
Yeah, they were kissing and hugging with Fred in the background. We know that.
That's it. But the thing is, it made you think that those are the three things you need to do as a driver.
Yeah.
And you've got a loaded weapon there, like a gun. It's like a weapon, that car. And if you don't use it properly, you're going to kill somebody. So you need to be extra careful when you're a driver.
I mean, you're already not allowed to use your phone, but what else would you stop people doing in the car, Jean?
You can use your phone.
Well, eating meals, putting makeup on.
Go on, here's Nick. Nick, he's suddenly as if we're in court here. Go on, say what you just said. Go on.
You can use your phone, but you can't have it in your hand. You can't touch it.
So what are you controlling with your knee?
In a holder. Have it in a holder.
Oh, a holder.
You can't touch it in the holder.
You can touch it. You can't. Yeah, you can't. But you can't have it in your hand. It's handheld.
This is very expensive advice.
I think this is free
pro bono
advice. So I believe you on that. But
Jean says concentrate, and she's absolutely right.
Of course she's right.
But we are allowed to eat in the car, drink in the car.
And if you're distracted and have an accident and you're doing it legally, it becomes illegal.
Okay. Exactly.
Do you know what I find for me when I love driving?
Yeah.
I do. And I find the most clarity one and the most clearer ideas. I have a...
When you're driving along the car?
I do. It's bizarre.
Yeah.
I don't know how you can...
And what we haven't done on the show is why convertibles are suddenly not being made. And I've got an old second-hand car, but it's a convertible. I love it. And I feel absolutely gorgeously glamorous in the summer when the weather's not. Feel marvellous driving topless in my convertible. What can I say? Topless with the top off. Right. Let's go to Peggy in West Sussex. Peggy, hi there.
Hello.
Hello. What do you think we should do, Peggy?
Well, I think, like a lot of things in our government or way of life, we make a lot of fuss. I think if people drive, no matter what age, 17 upwards, they should have their eyes tested every 3 years. Yep. The result of that test should be with their driving licence. Yep. And if you're pulled up or whatever, you have the evidence to show the police or whoever needs to see it. If it was done, if you were a driver and you had it done regularly, because we're talking about old age eyesight, but of course, deficiency in eyesight can occur with anybody at any time. True. So that's my point of having it as a mandatory eye test when you're driving every 3 years and proof with you that you've actually had that done.
Peggy, I bet they're listening to this. We know that they watch us like a hawk, the government. Any minute now, we're all going to get a letter. They're going to say, we thought Peggy was spot on with that one. And this is how much you're going to have to pay for the test. This is how much you're going to have to pay for the form that says you can see, even though you're actually 18, 21, 31, 41. It's all going to be because of you, Peggy. It'll be your fault. They're lovely to hear from you. Let's go to Paula in Leicestershire. Hello, Paula. What do you think?
Hello, Vanessa.
Hi.
Lovely to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you.
I agree with Becky. I think she's spot on what she was saying.
Yeah.
And myself, I went to the opticians to have my eyes checked if I was seeing well enough to cry.
Yes.
And of course, I was, but I haven't got a car. But I want to keep my driving license because don't want to give up everything, do you?
Absolutely. Quite right. Lovely to hear from you. Thank you very much. I mean, very sprightly conversation on that one. I think the bottom line seems to be, Nick, that everybody seems to think that we do need to have eyes tested even from the very beginning of driving.
But it's interesting, isn't it, that everyone who's phoned in is of a certain age?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
What do we learn from that? Wisdom, that's what we're getting on this programme. Sagacity
nothing
and
else.
wisdom. Venerable callers with great wisdom. That's why they're worth hearing from. Thank you so much. Everybody who calls, we really do love hearing from you. And thank you very, very much indeed. And we never know what you're going to say. That's the best part of the whole thing. Let's move on, though, to our next topic. Do you think too many women are getting cosmetic procedures? The number's 0207 862 2222. Writing in the Mail today, top doctor Max Pemberton, I'm a big fan of his, said government plans to crack down on cowboy cosmetic procedures don't address the bigger problem. He says the real problem and the real question to ask is why so many people, especially young women, want to have these treatments in the first place. Now, Dr. Max is a psychiatrist. He's also qualified to give Botox and fillers, but he's vowed not to after being left horrified, he says, by the number of young people who wanted to get work done so they could look like their favourite celebrities or influencers. He says it just didn't seem ethical to exploit the insecurities of young women in this way. And I wonder if you're concerned too about what people are doing to their faces and their bodies. Nadia, I wonder what you think about this.
I think we should do whatever one chooses to do. As women, we have really high sort of societal pressures as it is, and the West is obsessed with age obsessed, youth obsessed, body weight, body image obsessed. So I think any woman should have the right or not to choose to have whatever they need to do.
I mean, a little bird told me that you're planning on a facelift.
Yes, we both have been, I think we've spoken publicly on weight journey.
My weight journey, yeah. Facelift, no, I haven't had one. I probably, as soon as I started doing this show, and I have to turn to you, so I have to turn there. And then I suddenly saw the whole neck situation.
But this is the thing.
And I thought, God, why have I not had one? But it's a bit late now, and I'm 10 every day.
No, it's never
I could wear a polo neck, I was thinking.
No, I love a
not a good look. I can see myself
to...
in the camera. I don't like it. But I haven't had it done. No. But you're planning a facelift.
Yes, I think once I get to my optimal weight, I think it's important, because I already had a consultation.
Yes.
And it's important to differentiate facelift as in retouching, just lifting. I think it's understanding. It's so almost like placing back where where it was originally.
Right.
But can I ask you?
No, just one second. So basically, my cheeks, my muscle.
Sorry, Nadia.
Put Nick Freeman in his place. You wait till she's
So
finished.
essentially, I'm just reposting where my cheeks were, put them back where they
But
were
you see,
supposed to.
I'm looking at your face, Claire, and so is everybody else.
Thank you.
But I can't. I mean, genuinely, I'm not just saying this to be polite. I'm not.
No, thank you.
It doesn't appear to have fallen. It appears to be.
But why do you want it?
Because I would like personally to have this sort of jowls, a little bit of this jowl. I don't want to have the double chin. This sort of societal metrics that have been imposed on women. Even I have been institutionalized to believe that I need to adhere to that certain
you can fight
aesthetics.
it. You can resist it.
No,
you don't have to roll
it's
over
about
it.
Me
you don't have
wanting
to.
it to do.
Well, that's two
and I
different
think
points.
also it's my freedom of choice.
It
and
is.
I think
I
it
agree.
is my imperative choice that I can do it. And I think if cosmetic surgery and non-invasive cosmetic surgery, i.e. lasers and other sort of treatments, have amazing results as well, without having to go, quote unquote, under the knife and have those
Let's
scars.
ask Nick about this, because I know you have pretty strong views. I think, as you're driving, as you said, 900 miles in a day, you plenty of time
not
to
every day.
look at people. and you're seeing lots and lots of particularly young women.
Well, I'm concerned, and I thought you would be. Some people look up to you, and you're an example of, your beauty at your age, a role model.
You're too kind.
So what I'm concerned about is the 18, 19-year-old girls who have this sort of societal expectation that they've got to have a flawless complexion, and they already have. And what is wrong with aging beautifully, looking after yourself, keeping fit, and just making the most of what we've got? And I'm not saying that if you need something doing urgently because you've got, I don't know, a massive nose or you're flat-chested or something like that, that's understandable. But now,
only a man could say that.
I'm trying to tread delicately.
Only a man could say that. That's cisgender.
For young girls to feel that they want a butt lift or they want to look in a certain way, why aren't they concentrating on developing their brain? Why are we? Just a moment, please. Why are we suffering? Why are these girls and maybe men as well suffering with the highest incidence of mental health issues? Because they're chasing something that doesn't really exist. They're never going to get to what they're looking for, and they should be thinking about it in a completely different way.
Let's give Afua the chance to pitch in here.
But the problem is because young people especially are so confronted with social media, with celebrities, with AI now as well, with all these unrealistic pictures of what this idea of beauty that they're being fed. And you so rightly pointed out that this unrealistic idea of beauty, that is no wrinkles, that is stick thin, that is youthful, and they're being fed this when they're already young, when they already look great, when they already look real, like a real human being, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, and that is beautiful. But they're being pumped full of this idea that you have to have no wrinkles and these huge lips and these huge lashes and all this, and it just is so unrealistic. And as someone who has a 13-year-old daughter, I really worry about what she is seeing. I try and control that as much as I can, and also reinforce that she's absolutely beautiful the way she is. You don't need all these things. And I think that's actually the real root of the problem, that young people, especially young women, but young men as well, are being fed this idea of unrealistic beauty.
It's this idea, isn't it, that there's only one way to look, and you could call it the Love Island style.
They all look the same.
They look the same.
So
very large lips that are kind of pumped out, and obviously very, very big eyelashes, which obviously aren't real, a great deal of hair, lots of hair extensions, boobs, butt, and the whole thing, and that is the look, the acceptable
But who finds
look.
it attractive? Are they doing it for themselves or are they doing it for the opposite sex? Because I can say as a man that I don't find it attractive. You want individuality, and
no
when you
offense,
look at
you're not on Love Island. I say that with all
I'm not on
kindness.
Love Island.
You're not.
No,
like...
I'm not, and I'm not on Love Island. You're absolutely right. But I am entitled to pass an opinion
what
about the opposite
tell you
sex.
what we're looking at
and
on
what
the
looks
screen.
good and what doesn't look good.
This is Faye Winter, who I've met. She's a very, very nice girl, actually charming, from Love Island. And you can see on the right is how she looked then. So you can see that she's got fillers in her cheeks. She's got not very, very plumped up. Lips, hasn't she? And I'm not sure about the hair. And then on the left, she had everything taken out because when she was on the show, I think she felt that it was much too much. I think she got very criticised and trolled, and it was very unhappy and nasty experience for her. So that on the left is her real self. On the right is the kind of done-up self.
And a few, actually, there's a few of the Love Island contestants that have done the same thing. So they've come out afterwards and they've, Molly May as well, you know, dissolved the fillers, taken out the hair extensions and gone back to their quote-unquote natural state. But is that because, so did they do it to get on Love Island? And now that they're off Love Island, they have what they want to achieve, so they feel that they can go back to their normal self, now that they've achieved the brand deal, now that they've got the fame. Is that what it is?
But the other point, and that when you read someone's face, and we look at people, you know, I make a living out of looking at people, working out what they're saying, is it true, etc., etc. You want to look at a face that moves, that's giving you messages. When you're looking at a face that's filled with stuff, it's very hard to read.
I love I have an expressionist face. I have no poker face, honestly. My face will tell you exactly how I internally feel about something. And that is it's very expensive. What?
All right,
or it's cheap and you don't do anything.
I've got to say I'm riveted by this conversation. We are going to leave it there, though. After the break, we'd love your calls on whether you would confront someone, maybe you already have, who sticks their plates of meat, their feet up on a train or bus seat. Maybe you did it. If you did, what happened? I'll see you in just a minute. Welcome back. We're live on 5. What a discussion we had during that break. At one point during the show, Nadia said, "Is this live?" I said, "I never get more live than this. This is as live as the world gets, totally live." So I'm here with Nadia, Afua and Nick. Don't forget, later on, we're going to be asking, are you loving this heat wave? Another heat wave on the way. Are you happy about it or not? But before we move on, I just want to tell you something. We're having an exciting refresh. That's what they're calling it. We're dolling up the studio very soon, and we're getting the decorators in to give the walls a lick of paint. And I'm going to be saying goodbye to my famous pink sofas. We're going to have something more neutral instead. So we're looking for a good home to send them to, 2 of them, as you see, and we'd love you to get involved. Would you like to nominate somewhere that could benefit from a new sofa? It could be your local care home, a hospice that looked after your loved one, or a struggling youth club, anywhere you like. But do send your nominations in to Vanessa at channel5.com, and we'll keep you updated about who gets the 2 pink sofas. Will I miss them? Yes. Are they going? Yes. Is pink my favourite colour? Yes. Would I have kept them forever and ever? Yes. But what can I do? I'm not in charge, am I? So now I'd like your calls on whether you confront someone who had their feet on a train or a bus seat. Do get your calls coming in now. The number's 0207 862 2222. And the reason we're asking is because former editor of The Sun, Kelvin Mackenzie, tweeted a photo online of a woman. I must say, it's a very stylish picture, isn't it? It looks a bit like a fashion picture from Vogue. But anyway, it's a woman who had her trainers up on a train from London. Users were divided. One said it wasn't a big deal. It was probably a quiet train. But another called it inconsiderate and selfish. Kelvin did refuse to intervene himself. He said it should be a train manager's job to tell the woman to put her feet down on the floor. But I wonder whether you would confront somebody who put their feet up on a seat on your local train or bus service. Maybe you don't see anything wrong with relaxing with your feet up on a seat. Why don't we start with you, Afua? What do you think?
Oh, I tell people to take their feet off the seats.
Have you done it?
All the time.
Do you?
All the time. And my daughter was like, "Mom." I'm like, I mean, I honestly will ask people, like, are you at home? Were you born in a barn? Can you take your feet off the seats, plees?
You're not worried that you're going to really get short shrift?
No. I do it all the time because you're not at home. Why have you got your feet on the seats? Your shoes are invariably dirty because it's a London bus service. Like, just take your feet off the seat so everybody can sit down. What I don't like, though, is the surreptitiously taking pictures of people and posting them. I don't think that's cool. But I tell people all the time.
And how do people respond when you tell them?
They just move their seats.
Oh, do they?
Yeah. I think I'm quite mumsy about it. Can you take your feet down, please? I do it all the time.
All the time? Tell me, Nick, would you?
I'd look at them, weigh them up, see what threat they pose. Discretion being the better part of valour. I'd probably call someone from the rail and say, look, it depends. They do it on airplanes. I've seen there's lots of shorts on YouTube where someone's sitting in his seat or her seat and a guy or a girl behind will put their feet on the armrest.
Can you imagine?
And you know, then they refuse to take them down and then it all kicks off. look, ideally people should have manners and they shouldn't do it.
True.
But I think you need to be very circumspect about getting involved, and really there should be someone in authority who can say, excuse me, will you take them down there right off the train?
But we're always looking. We're looking for the fat controller on the train. We're looking for the
exist.
park keeper in the park.
They're never around.
For the
police
policeman
on
in
the
the
roads,
street.
no.
We're always looking for somebody who can be the person in authority.
And that's why we need to police it. That's why we end up
never seem
policing
to have them
everything, don't
anymore. What do you think, Nadia? Would you tell somebody to take their feet down from the seat?
Like I said earlier, I've been around in the UK, in England for the last 30 years.
Yes.
I've acquired a certain British je ne sais quoi with, you know, sort of attitude. I might just grunge and give you a little bit, you know, kind of clear my throat and give you a look and sort of imply that's not okay. I agree with you. Sometimes we should say it and be vocal about it. And I'm super hypersensitive to people's smells anyway. And I think your introduction, trotters, was absolutely accurate. Well, I don't want to see your shoes. I don't want to see your feet anywhere, shape or form, especially on a seat where I'm nearby. I would move, but I would give you that sort of, you know.
I wonder whether we think, though, that people have become much less aware, Nick, of the appropriate way to behave, you know, the courteous way to behave, the polite way to behave. You know, obviously we've got people talking all the way through films. If you ever do pay to go and see a film in a cinema, you just can't believe that people behave like that. Just hang on. Don't you understand? We've all paid a lot of money for this. Be quiet. What's happened here?
People on phones walking down the street, or they might be in somewhere and they'll be on the phone talking. People are just pursuing their own agendas, aren't they? And they don't seem to be empathetic to what's happening around them. We seem to lack, to use that
I don't think that's applicable.
I
don't think that's applicable to this particular situation. This is utmost repulsive, unpolite. It's not even a done thing to do. Nobody should do that.
Is it that they haven't been properly brought up, or is it entitlement? You know, I fancy just sitting like this, so I'm going to just shove my feet up. I mean, if one of my guests here on the panel were to just stick their feet on the table, I wouldn't like it.
No, I wouldn't.
I think it's a bit of both. I think it's a lack of social etiquette, and I think it's a sense of entitlement as well. You know, I'm just going to spread myself out. It's like, you know, when people man-spread on the train.
Oh, my God,
Their knees are out to here.
Don't say that.
I just did.
What about woman
just
spread?
did.
Take on to space.
I just did.
You can say that.
Yes.
I'm outnumbered.
Yes.
Okay, you can.
I had that happened to me, honestly, a couple of days ago. I was on the Jubilee line on the tube, and the guy next, he couldn't have spread more.
What is that?
It was almost menacing. There was so much of him on my part of the seat.
Yeah.
So I did exactly what Nadia said. I gave a sort of light cough. I looked down. I tried to say, you know, I'm looking at your enormous thigh, which is basically crushing me right over to one side. Completely ignored me. And did I say anything? I didn't say a word. Let's go to Jenny. Jenny's in London. Jenny, do you tell people take your feet off the seat?
Vanessa, I try and stop myself, but I cannot because I find it so insulting.
Yes.
And generally, I say to people in a quiet, very polite voice, I'm sure you don't realise, but you've got your feet on the seat. And that often does work.
Yeah.
But if not, I'm a bit more forceful and say, would you please take your feet off the seat? And mostly that works. Sometimes people do retaliate, but I just can't not say it. And I keep on until they do. And on one occasion, before the train had moved off, I told this or asked this boy to take his feet off, and first of all he did, but then after 2 seconds he put them back. So I called for a guard. 2 guards came, and you know what they said? They said there's no point us putting him off because he'll just get on another train. So that's how cowardly people are. I do not blame Kelvin because it's much easier for a woman in that situation than a man. That would instantly, I think, make somebody more aggressive. But so far, I've been lucky. But I travel down. I mostly live somewhere else, but I travel down to London generally once a week, come into Liverpool Street, and I would have told at least one person. It drives me mad. It's a disgusting habit. And it's never one kind of person. It's people of every shape, creed, colour and age. I promise you.
Let me ask you something, Jenny. When you say, would you mind please take your feet off the seat?
Yes.
Do they look embarrassed and ashamed? Do they
sometimes?
Do they get why you've said it, or do they just not even understand what's wrong with putting their feet on the seat?
Well, mostly I think they do because they take them off instantly. But whether I must look very fierce. And because I'm older, I think that's probably in my favour. And I'm not saying I'd tell someone that looked psychotic or something like that.
Yeah.
But I just cannot stop myself. And I wish I couldn't. I mean, my family go mad at me.
Well, I really appreciate the call and also your bravery, really, because it is courage, isn't it, that she's showing?
Yes.
Let's just go to Jill in Sussex. Jill, how do you feel about this one?
Well, it's my pet hate, and my kids keep saying, when you get on the train, Mum, try and zone out. But I can't zone out. I go about once a week from Sussex up to either Blackfriars or Victoria, and every single time I'm on the train, I tell someone to take their shoes off. It's disgusting. And once I had to go the whole length of the train to get to where I wanted to be, and 3 lots of people I told, and they're usually, I'm under 5 foot, and don't think I look scary, and I'm not exactly young. I just won't have it. But I got really annoyed this week because there was a mum with 2 kids, about 8 and 9. They had their feet on the chair. When she went to the loo, I said, can you take your feet off the chair? And when she came back, they just put them straight back up. So these kids aren't learning either. It's just bad manners.
Are you ever given some real back chat when you do it? Does anyone get angry with you or turn on you?
No, they don't now. About 10 years ago, I did it at Brighton Station. And there was a young boy, and he had his brand new trainers on. And I said, can you take your shoes off? And he said, no. And I said, well, wouldn't you do that at home? And he said, no. And he said, I haven't got a home or something. I said, well, you've got very expensive trainers for someone that hasn't got a home. And then I looked at a girl that was sitting near him, and I said, look, she's got lovely white trousers on. And if she sat where you've just put your dirty trainers, her white trousers would get dirty. And she said, I don't care. So I got off the train quick. But generally now I won't have it. What is the matter with people?
Well, I appreciate the call. I mean, all these people who are absolutely speaking up, and everybody's, I don't know whether it's worth it in case you end up in trouble in some kind of altercation. Not sure. Thank you so much for all your calls. After the break, with parts of the UK braced for our 4th heat wave of the summer in the coming days, I'm asking if you're happy that it's so hot again, or are you counting down to the autumn and winter? 0207 862 2222. That's the number. Welcome back. We're live on 5. Nadia's here, Afia's here, Nick's here. And with some parts of the country bracing for the 4th heat wave of the summer, we're asking, are you happy that it's hot again? 0207 862 2222. That's the number. Heat health warnings have kicked in for the whole of England this afternoon, with most lasting until Wednesday evening. It could reach 31 degrees across central and southern England today, with warnings of a potential rise in deaths, of course. And in some parts of the UK, temperatures could peak at 34 degrees tomorrow. It's a real departure from last week when Storm Floris brought wind and rain. So I'm asking, really, do you thrive in the hot weather? Or perhaps you're just sitting there counting down to autumn and winter? Obviously, I want to start with you, Nadia, because you hail from Portugal.
Yeah. And that's the reason I moved to the UK, because I like the misty cold winters. Yes, I do. And it's too hot. I like layers. I don't like to see. I need to have clothing on. And you can't do that.
So do you feel that the UK has let you down by not being cold and rainy enough?
Absolutely.
Seriously.
Yes. I like that misty cold, sort of, icy cold weather, coats, and, sort of. I love that sort of feel.
Gosh.
It makes me cozy, whereas in a heat wave, and don't get me wrong, I will prioritize a sea, sun and sangria type of holiday first.
And we all picture you on Big Brother wearing very few clothes quite a lot of the time.
That is true.
Yeah.
However, if I'm ought to be near a beach or a sea, then I'm comfortable with the heat wave.
Yeah.
But the heat and sun, to me, doesn't mean the same thing. I enjoy the sun, but I don't. Our houses are not equipped to tolerate these sort of temperatures. I had to invest in a really sort of, semi-cooler.
Have you, really?
Because it's so hot.
It's not hot at night time.
How do you feel?
I mean, it is hot.
Nick?
Look, it's 2 or 3 days. It's great for 2 or 3 days, isn't it? That's it. If it's a sustained period, it's too hot to walk your dog.
Exactly.
Well, it is. You can't lie out in it because you'll age.
I mean, I'm aging backwards. I don't know about
What do you think? Are you enjoying the weather?
Oh, I love it.
You love it?
Absolutely love it. The hotter, the better for me.
Well, I feel exactly the same.
Isn't there a limit?
I'm an inveterate face fryer. I mean, anything. I know
Really?
you're not meant to. Don't think I don't know. I know you're not meant to, but I like it when the sun sinks into your bones. And you can just, you know,
the
you can
factor
sit
30
there.
on,
You feel as if you're doing something, achieving a task. I just
we're
love
talking
that.
31 degrees. We're not talking 20 sort of
I love
morning sun, top sunbathe.
31 degrees
That's
is my
I can't think of
optimum
anything
operating
nicer than really
me
hot weather,
too.
especially if everyone comes inside and watches television and doesn't go out in it. That's what I really want, especially at 12:30. That's the time I want you watching the telly. Let's go to Tricia in Hertfordshire. Tricia, how do you feel?
Hi, Vanessa. Number one, you're looking fab today. And also, by the way you're dressed, I can tell you like the summer.
I love it.
I don't.
Oh.
My favourite day of the year is when the clocks go back.
Seriously?
I love the winter. Winter clothes, winter food, winter people.
Just like
and
Nadia
I agree with
says.
Nick. I've already walked my dog at 6 o'clock this morning.
Well, it's a beautiful time. It's the best time because it's quiet, it's cool,
Actually, it is.
gorgeous.
It's the most amazing time.
But
and
there
I
you
love
are in
it.
tropical Hertfordshire, Tricia.
Tropical Hertfordshire. What can I tell you, Vanessa?
I don't know
Too
what
tropical
you can tell
for me.
You're not just having a 99, having an ice cream, sitting there with your feet in a paddling pool, having a lovely time.
You have a paddling pool, you have a pool, you have the sea. That's fine with the heat wave, but otherwise it's not compatible.
You need to get a paddling pool, Nadia.
I
That's
think
the
I
problem.
do. Then we have the water control, what you call it?
The hosepipe ban.
Yes, and you can't use your own water.
Let's talk to June. June's on the line in Leicestershire. Tell me, June, how are you doing in the heat wave?
I'm doing fine. I love it when it's hot because not too hot, obviously, but when it's nice and hot, it makes you feel better, makes your mood feel better. You can go out and for walks. In the winter, it's icy, it's cold, slippy. I don't like the cold winter nights.
I'm with.
I love it.
And that's
I love
why
it
you're
in
called
the-
Flaming June, isn't it? June is busting out all over.
Oh, it is. That's right. Yeah.
Summer
it
baby,
makes you-
obviously.
Well, I was born in May, funny enough.
Oh, that's ridiculous. How could I know
My
that,
mum-
June? How could I possibly
Yeah.
think that? That is absurd,
Yeah,
but also great. I tell you I once did a phone-in when we had one of those really, really hot periods when we were always trying, I was always doing a show where we were trying to fry an egg on the pavement. We could never do it. We're always trying to do it. We couldn't do it. But I had this caller who said that there had been a snowy period in the winter and they had made snowballs and put them in the freezer. In the freezer. And so when the heat wave came, they were going to take them out of the freezer and throw them at their family members and we're going to have a really marvellous time with the frozen snowballs from the winter. See?
That's really prepared.
Offensive weapon.
Yes.
You know what heat wave also does?
What?
Your body kind of becomes hot and flustered. And
I thought you were going to say hot and saucy. Or something like that.
No.
Just hot and flustered?
There's a lot of moisture going around.
A lot of what? Oh, my God. I think we'll draw a veil over that conversation.
No, because
I can't let you go any further.
Vanessa, it's
Grateful
true.
thanks to Nadia Almda and Nick. And thank you so much for all your calls. Rob Rinder will be back 9:15 tomorrow morning, filling in for Jeremy. And I'll be here same time, same place. Until then, have a wonderful, hot afternoon. Lots of love.